Hello, my name is Kassidy and I will be presenting on the artist Janine Antoni. For this presentation, I mainly want to briefly go over her background and then discuss a few of her pieces. So, Janine Antoni was born in Freeport, Bahamas in 1964. She received a bachelor from Sarah Lawrence College and a Master of Fine Arts from Rhode Island School of Design. Antoni has exhibited at many institutions and museums, such as the Whitney Museum of American Art and Museum of Modern Art, just to name a couple, as well as received several awards for her works, like the Irish Museum of Modern Art Glenn Dimplex Artist Award in 1996 and the New Media Award in 1999. A big focus in Tony's works is on her body and the relationship the body has with the world. And with that, there are many feminist ideals that can be found. She mainly focuses in sculpture, performance, and photography. And Janine Antoni typically uses unique materials such as soap, chocolate, hide, lard, etc. And the process of Janine Antoni's work is just as important as the final product. Something that she typically wants to show is unconventional acts in her work to kind of bring more interest to the viewer. One of the pieces I want to talk about is Lick and Lather, made in 1993. How she created this piece was she made a mold directly from her body and cast herself several times in chocolate and soap. And then she would, over time, start licking the chocolate and washing with the soap to reshape the bust. The overall purpose of this is to question the classical beauty standards that you see in typical Greek busts. And so she does this by using everyday materials and using basic rituals to kind of bring yourself back to your body, and for the viewers to have a empathetic relationship to the process. The next piece that I wanted to briefly go over is Loving Care, made in 1993. This was more of a performance piece where Janine Antoni would mop the floor of her gallery with her hair that is covered in Loving Care hair dye. She states that it was very vulnerable to be there on my hands and knees mopping the floor, but it was very empowering to push people out of the room. So the main purpose of this piece was to kind of slowly claim the space and have people exit the room. The next pieces that I want to talk about is Touch and More. More was made in 2001, Touch in 2002. So the main purpose of these pieces was to show a connection back to her home in the Bahamas. So for More, the material that she used embodies personal memories and stories that she has from friends and family. She did this by creating a rope made out of materials that were gifts given to her by family and friends. Touch is another piece where she records herself walking a tightrope on the horizon line of a beach in front of her childhood home. The purpose of this piece was to essentially walk on the horizon line in front of her childhood home in a place where her childhood imagination would run wild. Like mentioned before, these two pieces are representations of her life back in the Bahamas, and the location itself is meaningful. And with the Touch piece, she said in an Art 21 interview that in her performance pieces, she worries that the viewer would identify with herself, the performer, rather than the relationships with the object and process. The main thing she kind of wants to do is to have people take away from the objects and performance and think that, for this piece example, if they can walk on air, they can walk anywhere. So where would they walk? And the final set of pieces I want to discuss is from the Vow Made. This was an exhibition that she had showing 7 of her pieces. This set of pieces was created based on her study of milagros, which are sculptural votive offerings used in Latin cultures. So milagros are often hung in churches as symbols of things that require healing, prayer, and protection. And for these pieces specifically, she wanted prayers for embodiment. A quote she stated about this set of pieces is "Impossible touch made possible." You can see this through Antoni sculpting interior structures of the body and having them interact with inanimate objects or exterior structures of the body, such as the literal tailbone touching the stool. depicted in To Return. And basically she wants to show human connection through having these interior structures interact with each other. And here are the sources that I used for this presentation. I hope you were able to learn some interesting things about Janine Antoni and take interest in her works surrounding her body. Thank you for listening to this presentation.